All right, if you've ever thought about doing your own hardwood floors or thought about hiring a contractor to come do it and wonder why it costs so much, this video is for you. I'm going to show you step by step how I am going to refinish these floors. I do this every day, but this is for one of my rental units. So to start out, I am using 60 grit on the power drive, going back and forth, going along the edges like this just to get it flat, and I'm actually going to do this first cut against the grain. The reason for this is to get the floor as flat as possible for my next cuts, and the goal of this cut is to get all of the old finish off. So you may have to go over it twice, and once you do that, you vacuum it, and then I was going to fill some of the gaps in this floor, so I made my own wood filler. You can see me laying it out and troweling it down. I'm just using a drywall taping knife, going back and forth, shoving it in the hole and spreading it. And after that, we moved to 80 grit. I was using 80 grit Bona A-lock screens. You got to clean it up, get all of the filler you put in off and all of the scratches from your 60 grit cut off. And after we use 80 grit, we're going to use a little elbow grease to get these corners clean. We have a scraper and a file and some sandpaper. Now I'm only taking this floor up to 100 grit because it's just going natural, which will be perfectly fine. Once you scrape, you vacuum up, and then you go through with your 100 grit. I'm using 100 grit mesh Bona net A-locks. Just going back and forth at a steady pace. And once you get that done, you got to vacuum. Instead of vacuuming, well, I guess in part with vacuuming, I use a Tampico brush. I just put that on the power drive, going back and forth, collecting all the dust. And then once I get done with this, I'll go around the edges with a vacuum just to make sure it's clean. And then once we do that, we're ready to stain. This stain is about 80% neutral, 20% country white. Just kind of kills some of the amber and brings a little white into the grain, which I like the look of. And then just put it on with a lamb's wool in a bucket, going back and forth. Once you spread it all out, you got to go through with rags. I didn't feel like dragging my buffer upstairs. This is an upper unit. I didn't want to drag my buffer up, so I just hand wiped this. Kind of a pain, but gets the job done. A little more work, but it was worth it. Turned out great. So you just kind of keep going. And with the white, you want to make sure you get all of that pigment out. Once you do that, you put on, I did 3 coats total, so 2 coats of finish first before we'll buff it again. And here you can see me doing that. Once you do that, you got to buff it. I use 220 tape. You got to go around the edges where the buffer won't hit and pull out the corners a little bit. Then you go through with your buffer. Same tape. I would just put 2 strips on a 16-inch buffing block, going back and forth. Now here you're really just looking to get off any debris